The fact is that you have inspired not only the pontifical government, but also the neighboring states, with such extreme fear that they are glad of all opportunity of making an example. But Peppino didn't even belong to my band. He was merely a poor shepherd, whose only crime consisted in furnishing us with provisions, which makes him your accomplice to all intents and purposes. But mark the distinction with which he is treated. Instead of being knocked on the head, as you would be once they caught hold of you, he is simply sentenced to be guillotined, by which means, too, the amusements of the day are diversified, and there is a spectacle to please every spectator, without reckoning the wholly unexpected one I am preparing to surprise them with. My good friend, said the man in the cloak, excuse me for saying that you seem to be precisely in the mood to commit some wild or extravagant act. Perhaps I am. But one thing I have resolved on, and that is to stop at nothing to restore a poor devil to liberty, who has got into this scrape solely from having served me. I should hate and despise myself as a coward did I desert the brave fellow in his present extremity. And what do you mean to do? To surround the scaffold with 20 of my best men, who, at a signal from me, will rush forward directly Peppino is brought for execution, and, by the assistance of their stilettos, drive back the guard and carry off the prisoner. That seems to me as hazardous as uncertain, and convinces me that my scheme is far better than yours. And what is your Excellency's project? Just this. I will so advantageously bestow 2,000 piastres that the person receiving them shall obtain a respite till the next year for Peppino, and during that year another skillfully placed 1,000 piastres will afford him the means of escaping from his prison. Okay, interesting. Both men seem to have money at their disposal. Gotta admit, because we haven't given names to these characters, I had to do a little bit of extra work to make sure that I know which one is saying what here, following yesterday's passage. The man explaining his plan here is the one that came in next to Franz. He's the one saying that he is going to essentially Scarlet Pimpernel Peppino away from his execution, while the other man, who he's meeting with, who we didn't get much of a description of, is saying, that seems like a pretty brash plan, my friend. Why don't we just buy his way out of this? So, I don't know who is who yet. And again, I don't want to speculate. This isn't a guessing game. I don't get points. I don't walk away with $10,000 in prizes. But I'm wondering if this is a meeting between Vampa and Dante. The only real distinction we get between these two men is when they first started talking. I'm going to go back a couple passages here. Well, actually, it's yesterday's passage, where it says that one man spoke in the Roman dialect, while the other replied in the purest Tuscan. So if I was smarter and had a better memory for details, I might remember where Vampa was from. Was it Tuscany? Was it Rome? It's Rome. He's a Roman bandit. Okay, and the Roman bandit is the one that's saying that he has a plan to station all of his men around Peppino in order to escort him away from his execution. The man with the Tuscan accent is the one saying, why don't we just buy his way out? Okay, this is making a little bit more sense. Now, let's do a little bit more research. I'm going to go way back here. I'm going to back to chapter 32, and I'm going to look up that line that Pastrini had said, the controversial line, where Robin Buss added that line about the Count of Monte Cristo. It says, a very rich gentleman who was supposed to be a Sicilian or a Maltese. Okay, so that doesn't give me any information that's useful. But if we know that Vampa is Roman and Dante is apparently a master at all, why am I spending this time guessing? I promised myself I wouldn't do this. A new plan is hatching here, and we're going to learn maybe a little bit more about Peppino and why he's so important to save from execution. That's the other thing here that... Wait a minute, folks. Oh, my God. Listen, I could have re-recorded this and given you a little bit more clarity. I'm trying to provide you with an authentic experience here. So we do get one indicator here that line, my good friend, said the man in the cloak, excuse me for saying that you seem to be precisely in the mood to commit some wild or extravagant act. Okay, the man in the cloak is the one that was by Franz, right? Okay, he's the one saying that maybe we should buy Pastrini out of his situation. What I think threw me, sorry, this is where my speculation gets dangerous, is that the other man wants to get Peppino out because of a moral issue. He says that he is going to stop at nothing to restore a poor devil to liberty who has gotten into this scrape solely from having served me. That doesn't sound like the Vampa that we met up till now. So, and that does sound like something Dante would do. We don't even know that this is Dante and Vampa Landon. What are you doing? You can excuse my confusion, though. My brain is trying to put this equation together, and I don't have all of the numbers and variables yet. I need to just be with what it is. Okay. Is there anything else from this silly little passage that I can mention that isn't as confusing as my experience? I will maybe just end this by mentioning that this dynamic between these two men, especially in developing a plan, is to me reminiscent a little bit of the Three Musketeers, where D'Artagnan is a very impulsive young character who is under the tutelage, so to speak, of the three more elder musketeers, Porthos, Athos, and Aramis, where D'Artagnan might be distracted by his vengeance for Rochefort. The other musketeers might offer a different way of going about a situation. I think it's a way to emphasize the importance in these stories of having a strategy to work through systems rather than impulse. If you work through impulse, it's more than likely not going to work out for you long term. And it's more exciting for us as readers. Maybe tomorrow we'll be in luck and the two of these men will just like sit down with schematics and do like an Ocean's 11 sort of heist planning to get Peppino free. Wait a minute. Have we heard Peppino's name before? Oh my god. Suddenly, everything is crashing down inside my head. I think I need to stop for today. I've recorded a number of these episodes. I'm gonna pause, come back tomorrow. So join me here then, won't you? Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.